Good morning, special being. Today is Friday, and we just need to be. I don't know if I'm compelled to always give some advice, but I feel like I'm serving my purpose, right? So I am actually looking forward for the few coming weeks because they're going to be very exciting for me. Other than having to launch my book, which the date I will announce soon. Um, it is going to be festive season. The schools will be closing. They won't be waking up very early in the morning anymore, and until next year. So probably in between that, then I will also be sharing and starting another genre of writing based on the experience that I encountered in my life. So basically, I just love and like to write about my experiences because it makes much more sense. And since I started documenting my experiences, I am there is so much clarity in me because when I go back and check as to where did I go wrong, I am able to find clarity since the dots are connecting in most of the cases. So you benchmark your life, your experiences, what you have learned, the knowledge that you have acquired with how you've been living your life. Then you get to see and realize that, you know what, I think I don't need to really blame anybody. This is all my fault. Probably you can't even say it is your fault. You just basically need to accept the fact that if it wasn't you who experienced such, you wanted it to be who. And it's good that it is you, because if it wasn't you, you will know that you will not know that such things happen, you know. um, Yesterday I was sitting, I usually sleep very late, so I was sitting, I was lazy to read, and I was also lazy to watch television. Television is something which I have not been watching for a while since I started writing. Before my writing, I used to be glued on television like 24/7. People will leave in the morning and come back late at night. They will find me still watching TV. So I disconnected myself from that habit. Then I started to be more productive. I started to have much clarity around the area of my life, as well as seeing things on a different angle and perspective. So I do watch television here and now when I want to clear my mind again, because you can't be a robot. You need to know that you are still a human being, regardless of you having to fix certain areas in your life. You're still a human being. You still need entertainment. You still need to hear other people's point of view. But one thing that I do not watch is news. The reason I do not watch news, it is because there is no authenticity in area around news, and the 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 things that are happening in the world, they're happening with speed as well as there is biasness. So I find news not to be really compelling. I rather watch a story true story, even if it is a fiction, I rather do that than having to sit and watch news. If I want to update myself on area of news, I rather read instead of watching news. So it's one of the things that when you go through a journey of self-discovery as well as changing your mindset as how you see things, you will find yourself disconnecting from a whole lot of things that is accepted by the society, or something that seem to be cool by the majority of people. I also don't watch the soapies. I don't watch. There is no realistic living around that. So I used to, of which even if I can get a chance, I will still do watch. I do like to watch reality TV, even though it is not real. Some of them are not real, but for the sake of motivation. So I don't know what you guys are watching and how you watching. At what state of mind are you watching? Because you need to be intent as to anything that you do in your life. Are you watching to be inspired? Are you watching just to because you are bored? Are you watching? What is it that you are watching television based on? What is your state of mind when you are watching TV? Because that is very, very important. It's another way of saying that you are creating your life, right? You're creating your life. Because say for example you're watching news and you're watching news that are disturbing, right? You're watching news that they're talking about rapists, they're talking about robbery, they're talking about, remember, we have brains, right? So as soon as you tap onto that space of watching news that are disturbing, you might not see that you actually are creating that reality in your own life as well. How do I mean that? That moment of you having to watch television, what is it that you're taking out of it? Are you taking, it's just for you watching? After you have watched, what happens to you? What happens to your subconscious mind? So the subconscious mind, it is a storage of our thoughts, right? So what happened? What is your thought after having watched television? Probably you will experience funny dreams at night when you have watched it. Like you will probably dream horror and because the news that you were watching, they have influenced your brains to think that, because you have watched a lot of disturbing news. So that is what your subconscious mind will store in your brains. And if you're not careful and you're consistently watching news around that area, then you become more of what those news are. Say you watch the news only for business update, right? You want to be updated in terms of the economy, how we're performing as the world, as the country. What happens to your subconscious mind as well? You store more of that. So maybe on the news they talk about how the price of petrol has escalated, has went up, and what does it do? It starts to cause fear. The fear that I will probably not afford to say to go to work, or I'll probably not have to cut off some of the things, because those news, they have actually created that fear. So I'm not saying all the time the news create fear, but what is your state of being? What is your state of mind when you are watching television? What is your state of mind? Because that is the most important part. What is your state of mind? So me transitioning from who I was to who I am today, The only thing that I'll probably continue watching is something that is building, something that is inspiring. Say I'm watching how they sell properties, right? And then, so while I'm watching that, then I'm inspired about how the house look. I'm inspired about how the person who is actually putting the property on the market has closed the deal. I'm also inspired by realizing that it was not really a good sale for whoever is selling, and then it was a good buy for whoever is buying, right? So that propels me to to be in alignment with who I am. I'm not getting distracted by the news, by television, and. If I'm watching the news, then I'll probably be watching the news as to, even the economic news as well. They are kind of like disturbing, because regardless of the dollar or the rand fluctuating, there is always people making money under those conditions. It's about the mindset. It's about the mindset. So it shouldn't be scary. It shouldn't be scary. What we don't realize is that most news, they are kind of like disturbing news. And we need to train our brains to learn that anything that I watch, anything that I do, anything that I engage on, it should not become distraction. It's either I take lessons from it, and it should not become distraction. It should not instill fear. Because as people, we don't we are probably where we are today because there was so much fear from a very, very young age to that was instilled in us. Say for example, you were while think of the time that you were still at school, right? How your teachers used to talk to students who are rebellious. All right. If you were one of them who was probably rebellious, you were being told that you're not gonna go anywhere. You won't really taste the good of life. They were putting on these words which were not really building, but they were destroying. They were also at the same time making you feel like you're not good enough, and they were destroying your what is this, your essence as to how you see things, and you thought that you don't fit in, ne? You thought that, you know what, I probably don't fit in here, and they influence how you became. It depends on personality as well. It's either it could build you to become better version of yourself, or it can just destroy you. It can just destroy your image. It can also destroy your self-esteem. So that depends on how you take the news. Say if it was me being told that majority of the time, then what would have probably happened to me? It could have destroyed me, because my state of being was that one of being influenced by how other people say. I did not really see myself as capable of molding myself. So I valued other people's opinion much than that of my own, and I also valued people's feelings than that of my own back then, not now, right? So I will probably could have been destroyed by any teacher or any parent that will be telling me that. So fortunately, I was not that kind of a rebellious child, but however, I was I was too I would notice circumstances, situations, and so I was very alert, right? I would say my intuitive was always at the run. I was observant. I was observant to say, yo, this person is not a good person, this person is heartless, and those kind of things, right? So it compelled who I became. Nah? I tried to build my personality around not trying to hurt other people at the same time, moving away from hate, moving away from anyone trying to hurt me or hurt my feelings. As soon as I realize that someone is trying to hurt my feelings, then I will just be ignoring the person or moving away from conflict. So that's how I became. I became someone who will move away from conflict, and that was not really a good thing. I could have let things come to me and bounce back, right? That's what you literally need to do. You observe, then you allow it to come and bounce back. So you surround your brains to be covered by the bubble. This bubble is the bubble that will just come, bounce back. Anything that is negative, it will just hit and go back. It won't do anything to you. So I could have, it's something that most of us probably suppose we were to do it that way. It's the right thing to address matters, to address situation, to deal with any conflict. Instead of ignoring it, you address it on that manner to say you don't allow things to get to you. They just need to bounce back. Bounce back. If someone is telling you that, yo, you are ugly, you don't store that thing on your subconscious mind. It just probably bounce back. You know who you are. You look at yourself every day and you are beautiful. That's what you need to tell yourself. No one will come and tell you otherwise, right? So yes, I don't know how we got here, but we were talking about how to, about from the beginning as to its weekend, and as we are about to go on this probably enjoyable 2 days of most people's lives, because that is where you get to rest. That is where you get to engage with more people out of the space of creating meaningful, it's still meaningful relationships. However, that is where you get to engage with friends and family over the weekend. So be watchful of how you are creating and modeling yourself. Cheers, guys. I hope this builds someone.